G'day everyone, it's Carl here. Got Jala directing and filming on the camera today, and we're here in Coconut Well, which is just north of Broome in Western Australia. It's a beautiful spot to hang out for the day, and we thought since we were here we'd do a short tour of our Troopy and let you know how we've got it set up, run through some of the things that we've got and how we're using it and how we've got it set up, and hopefully give you some ideas. So we bought this back in February, early this year. We've been hunting around for over a year for a full drive that we could use for touring. We wanted something to complement our van that would be able to take up north and leave the van down in storage in Perth. So that's basically the idea behind this. It is a 2006 HZ78 Troopcarrier, Landcruiser, and it's done a few Ks. It used to be a hire vehicle back in the day, but it's been privately owned for the past 10 years. And the previous owner did a lot of mods on it as well, and we've kind of taken it over and put the camper system in it. So that's what we're going to go through today. So first we're going to go through the external stuff. So over here we've got the Darchie awning. So we're going to do a dedicated review of this awning later on. But we've got the awning set up and it provides a nice bit of shade. Over here in the front of the car we've got the just the standard steel bull bar. We've got a winch in the front, got some front recovery points that I fitted about a month ago. Standard two-piece raised air intake, which we had to seal up. And up the top there, got the roof rack. We've got a couple of max tracks up the top in bags. We've got a 200 watt solar panel on the back, which feeds to our lithium battery, and a 75 watt solar panel over there up the front, and that feeds to the two starter batteries in the engine bay. On the windows, we've got bug mesh that we've siliconed in place, and that just allows plenty of airflow at night time. We can slide these windows open, all four of them, two on each side. We can slide those open and provide a bit of airflow. Solar shower, it's only a temporary solution at the moment. We did want to fit a proper shower system, a 12 watt pump, but we just didn't have the time to do it. And on the back here we've got just the bin bags on each spare tyre, and the gas bottle as well. So we've got a 4 kilo gas bottle on the back. This is the other spare wheel. So we've got a dual spare wheel carrier. We originally were going to get rid of the spare wheels, but we decided to actually keep both of the spares because out in the outback you really never know if you need the extra. So we thought if we're going to be carrying 2 spare tyres, we may as well get 2 spare wheel bags. So this one here is for recycling and for general waste, and the other bag on the other side is where we keep our low value camping gear. So pegs and hammers and like a little fold out shovel and that sort of thing, insect repellent, all that gets dumped into that bag. Just stuff that we won't really miss if someone ransacks it and steals it. But it's good to have it outside and have it on hand. Now moving over to the back of the Troopy, this is sort of the main setup. So over here you see on the left, that's our little exhaust fan setup. That's just running at the moment, just pushing the air out. Worked really well. It's basically just 2 14 centimetre computer fans that I just put onto that bit of plastic core flute and stuck into the window, and that's just connected around to a power outlet in the back here. The mattress is a double size. It's a 70mm thick high density foam mattress. Works really well, very comfortable, and basically we've got some of this insect mesh here as well that we can roll down and drop this, and this mesh will actually cover the whole back of the vehicle. So ideally, because it's up north, it can be warm at night time. There can be a lot of mosquitoes around. That's why we've got the mesh on all our sliding windows. We've also got the mesh on the back door here. So when we have the doors open, we're using the kitchen. We don't have bugs coming into the car still. So over here, we've got 2 little drop down areas. Now this one is for a little sink setup. So that's how quick and easy it is to use. And on the other side over here, we've got like a little drop down table. Now, because we've got the gas bottle just over here, that's a 4.5 kilo LPG bottle, we can run the hose over and actually have our stove set up here. So we've got a stove just tucked in there at the moment, but the stove does actually set up just here, and we can use that and have it cooking and do whatever. So we don't always have to unpack all the tables and chairs. If we just stop for lunch somewhere quickly, we can take that out, set it up and use it, and then we're done. Pack that away. Oh, actually, just thinking about it, we did actually modify the little ropes here as well. And the reason that we did that is so the fridge can actually extend out, even with the stove tucked in. It doesn't hit the rope. So originally when we set it up, that was an issue, and then we just re-drilled the hole and made the rope a little bit shorter. So that works really well. And it's the same situation over here with this. this top drawer, which is basically like our pantry and cooking gear drawer. This slides out the whole way. It's a 1.5 metre full extension. So we've got all our pots and pans, all our pantry foods, all our dry foods, all the good stuff, all lives in this drawer. And the same deal, we adjusted the ropes so that would fit and we'd be able to extend it out even while we're washing the dishes at the same time. Because it's pretty annoying otherwise if you have to pack things away just to get one thing out of the drawer. Underneath our pantry slider drawer, we've got this little friction slide drawer. This is a lockable drawer, and basically it's just where we put all our miscellaneous bits and pieces, camera gear, spare lenses, all that sort of stuff. Extra fire extinguisher, we've got another one up the front. Can never have too many. And that is lockable as well. Not that it's super heavy duty, but it's just to slow someone down. Now over here we've got the fridge on the slider tray that we made as well. And this is basically a extended version of our bike slider tray in the Sprinter van. So that comes out 1.5 metre full extension and locking as well. So in here we've got a 46 litre Dometic fridge. It basically has heaps of space for all our gear. We can fit probably about 10 days worth of cold food in here, and then another 10 days worth of dry food, so we're pretty much good for a while. Behind that we've got a heavy duty air compressor, we've got a tool roll, we've got a spare 20 litres of water, which is very important in some areas of Australia because it's pretty dry out in the desert. And then we've also got our little Thetford Curve porta potty as well, which we pulled out of the van. The reason that we took this was that there are many places in Western Australia where you need to have a chemical toilet on board, otherwise you can't go there. So a lot of areas around the Ningaloo coast and in the northwest need to have one of these on board. So whilst we don't use this very often, it's a good thing to have, and it just means that you can camp responsibly. So over here we've got another 20 litres of water. We've got space to store our stove on the side there. It's just like a Coleman twin burner stove. And in the back area behind there is just like a cavity really, where we can store our camp table, our camp chairs, all that sort of stuff, spare tent, that all lives basically in there. It's all pretty easy to access. And here is our spare poles for the awning. So the awning comes with 3 poles attached, and then they give you 3 optional poles as well. So if it's a bit windy, you can give it extra support. So it's just a little handy spot for that to live where it doesn't get in the way. So moving back to the bedroom, as I mentioned before, we've got this really comfortable 70mm high density foam mattress. Now underneath the foam mattress, we've got the like a plywood base, which is built onto a aluminium square tubing frame. So this is 25mm aluminium square tubing, and it's held together with these ABS plastic joiners, and they're sold by aluminium warehouses and hardware stores. Now in the plywood base, we've drilled all along these round air holes, and that's basically just to allow ventilation and airflow underneath the mattress so it doesn't get moldy and condensation underneath. Now over on the side over here, we've got a bunch of these little storage nooks, and inside those we just have our clothes and personal belongings, and we've used these little organisers. So we've been using these since like travelling and backpacking, and we found that they're really handy as well to use in these little storage nooks because they kind of help keep it neat. So up in the roof we've got a closed cell reflective insulation up there. We've also used that in the walls, and we use sound deadening as well in the walls. We use that just to try and keep some of the heat from coming into the vehicle during the day. And what we will do eventually, we'll add to this, we'll add some more of these ply slats, and we've actually got these pieces of white core flute similar to what we used over here in the fan. We've got some pieces to go up onto the roof to actually finish it off and make it look a little bit neater. Unfortunately, we just ran out of time, and we wanted to get out of Perth and hit the road, so we figured it's only a cosmetic thing, we can leave it and do it when we get back to Perth. Righto, moving into the cabin area. Nice and cool and dark in here, thanks to the solar shades and the windows. Now behind the seats, we've got a bunch of these little tidy pocket organisers that we've attached to the back of the seats. These have been super helpful. We didn't have these in the first couple of weeks of our trip, and then we installed them when we got to Broome, and they've just really changed our life, because obviously here in the Troopy there's a lot less space to store things like there would be in the van. So it just allows us to kind of stay a little bit more neat and organised, and everything kind of has its pocket and its place so we can easily find things in the future. Now over here is our electrical area. So underneath, down the bottom with the orange top, that's our lithium phosphate 120 amp hour 12 volt battery, and that is connected to a Victron MPPT solar charge controller, which is that blue box just there, and that's also connected to a Bluetooth module as well, so we can connect to it with our smartphone. And there's a bunch of fuses and circuit breakers hidden behind that ply panel in there as well. Over here we've got 4 high-speed 2 amp hour USB outlets, and we've got a Sigma jack. It's a 20 amp hour Sigma jack in the corner there as well. Over here we've got our switches. So the top 2 are for the interior lights, so they're 12 volt warm white LED lights on the interior, which work really well. And then the bottom 2 are for the exterior lights. So one's underneath the awning, it's a warm white LED light underneath the awning, and then there's also another LED light strip on the back of the roof rack. Then over here we've got our DC motor speed controller, which is for the exhaust fans, and then under there we've got the Victron battery monitor. So that has a little inline shunt connected to the battery, and that measures how much capacity is available in the battery. And then we've just got these little clips here for the cables, just to try and keep things a little bit organised as best we can, really, so it doesn't get too messy when we have cables laying cluttered all over the place. Alrighty, in terms of what's happening here in the front cabin, front dash area, heavy duty canvas seat covers, got the Department of Interior overhead storage, little pockets, got a little alarm sensor, front and rear dash cam with the sensor. Over here we've got the classic Doug's tub, which any Landcruiser owner should own. They're an awesome little invention just to neaten up and make your glove box a bit more functional. Got the UHF radio, a little media center with a display which is connected to the rear view camera. Got an override circuit as well, which is connected to the accessory circuit, and will actually run all your accessories off the secondary battery, which means that you can turn your stereo on and run your stereo from the second battery while you're parked up, even if the keys aren't in the ignition, which is a pretty cool little thing to do that the previous owners sorted out. We've got the water tank sensors and monitors. We've got the voltage, like a little visual voltage indicator as well. These will change colors and blink and flash and do different things depending on what's happening with the 2 starter batteries. We've got the voltage sensors for the 2 batteries in the engine bay. We've got a a battery combiner button there as well, so you can actually link the batteries together and start off both batteries. And the batteries have also been fitted with a low voltage cutout, so if I accidentally left the headlights on, for example, and drained the starter battery, it will cut the power to it before it gets to a certain point, and then you can press the button to override that and reconnect the batteries, and then you can pair the batteries together and jump start yourself. So the idea is, even if you're out in the bush in the middle of nowhere, you can always get going. Pretty handy thing to have, especially in the north where they've got these massive tides and cars often get sunk and washed away. Moving on to this side, not a lot of exciting stuff happening. We just have the temperature sensor there, so that's connected to a sensor on the engine bay. And what's not shown but it's installed is also a coolant loss alarm. So in case a hose breaks or something starts leaking coolant, the alarm goes off. One last thing, got the classic temperature sensor and pressure sensor here as well on all the tyres, and that's something that we have installed on our van as well. Other than that, pretty stock standard for a 75 series vehicle. It's pretty amazing to think this is a 2006 Landcruiser, and it's got the classic old school Landcruiser dash here, which looks like something straight out of the 70s. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the front area. So we just wrapped up filming the tour, and it suddenly occurred to me that I didn't explain to you guys, why did we buy a Landcruiser Troopcarrier? Why didn't we get a four-wheel drive van? The main thing was that with most of the other vehicles that aren't a Toyota, sort of a basic Toyota vehicle, they're pretty hard to get parts for and to get servicing repairs done. So like a Delica and a Mercedes Sprinter van, if something breaks, if it breaks down and you're out in the bush in the remote northwest area, where we are here up near Broome, you're going to be in deep trouble, where the Landcruiser parts are all pretty standardized, and pretty much like there's just hundreds of these vehicles in the Kimberley. They're all around, so all the mechanics know how to work on them. The older versions like this one, the newer ones which use a turbo V8, the mechanics are all good for it. Look, the main downside of the Landcruisers is first of all that They do seem to spend a lot of the time on the beach. Now, we're parked up on sort of hard limestone and dry sand, but you see down there's guys parked up on the wet sand. They've driven down on the wet sand on the beach. So a lot of the four-wheel drives, especially the Toyota Land Cruiser sort of four-wheel drives, they have problems with rust. A lot of them haven't been looked after. Thankfully ours doesn't have any rust and it has been looked after and maintained. It's high Ks, but it's been maintained. The other real thing in terms of just like the body shape is it's only got the two front doors and then it's got the barn doors on the back. And that means it's got this kind of room in the back which is long enough for a double bed. And you can find some which have a third door. You can get an engineered third door attached on the passenger side. That costs about $10,000 to $12,000 I've been told, which is no small amount. And most of the vehicles that are on the market with the third door usually are ex-mining vehicles, so they've been used and abused. That's the main downside. I really miss having like side sliding doors, which all our previous vehicles have had. And that's why we've had to do those big full extension drawers in the back and all that to be able to access everything inside. So that's the main downside. That's why we got the Landcruiser Troopcarrier. Also, they just look awesome. And so that's why when we started thinking we wanted a four-wheel drive, something that's tough, something that's reliable, something that we can repair if it breaks down in the remote, rugged areas of the north of Australia, this was pretty much the only real solution at the end of the day. Alrighty guys, well that's basically a wrap. Just a really quick tour of our little ultra tiny home on wheels. This has been home for the past 3 months as we've been travelling around the north of Australia, the north of WA and the Northern Territory. And we've got another sort of month and a half, 2 months to go still, and we've been loving it. We haven't had any major issues with the vehicle other than normal servicing and repairs. And yeah, so if you have any questions or any comments or anything that I've missed, feel free to drop it in the comments or get in contact with us. So we're either on comfortablylost.com on the website, or you can jump onto Instagram or Facebook. We're under Comfortably Lost as well, and send us a message. So yeah, until next time, enjoy, look after yourselves, and we'll see you in future videos. Bye.